Okay, good morning. Today is July 11th, 2023. We're gathered for the annual reorganization meeting. Let's stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vice President Clements. Here. Trustee Valentine. Here. Trustee Headland.
Here.
Trustee Clementson.
Here.
We're going to begin with a moment of silence for Michael Junjulas, who is a 1987 graduate of Haldane High School, a Haldane parent, and also a former Board of Education president who passed away on June 24th, 2023. Okay, Dr. Benante, we're going to start by swearing you in.
Thank you. So, Ms. Shields, do we want to use the podium?
Sure.
Okay.
You want to go to the podium?
I will.
Raise your right hand, please.
Like me to read the oath? Sure. I, Philip Benante, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Superintendent of the Haldane Central School District to the best of my ability. I think at this point, Ms. Shields, yes, you're on for taking the oath of office for District Clerk. Go ahead.
I, Megan Shields, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of District Clerk of the Haldane Central School District according to the best of my ability. Okay, Peggy, to renew your term. Yes, I will. Margaret Peggy Clements is going to renew her oath as a trustee of the Haldane Central School District Board of Education.
I, Margaret Clements, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Haldane Board of Education Trustee according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to election of the officers of the Board of Education. Could I please have a nomination for President of the Board of Education?
No.
I nominate Peggy Clements for President of the Haldane School Board.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Great idea.
That's one way to do it. No, I think Peggy brings a lot of experience and a lot of historical experience, especially for those I can still consider myself new-ish, even though I'm in my. You're like, can you do that really after 5 years? No, but it's important to have people who remember a lot of the historic reasons why things happen and reasons why we made certain decisions over time. And Peggy's A, fantastic at that, B, really understands what goes on, and C, is really dedicated to keeping us all on track and on time. So, fantastic.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Peggy, the seat is yours.
Oh, look at that.
Megan's like, I'm out of here.
Oh, you have to do your oath, I'm sorry. Yes.
I, Margaret Clements, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Haldane Board of Education President according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Congratulations.
So thanks to everybody for those votes of confidence.
You got to put a little sticky note on it.
Yeah.
Close up the vice part. Yeah,
Thanks, Maggie.
that's right.
Okay, so Vice President. So taking nominations for Vice President, and I actually would like to nominate Maggie Valentine. Maggie is relatively new to the board. Well, anyways, I'll nominate her, and then we'll wait and see if there's a second, and then I'll make my comments.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Maggie's relatively new to the board, but has really jumped in to take on some of the, I think, biggest responsibilities. Everything's a responsibility, but really right away was really interested in being on the policy committee, which shows a real interest in the depth of some of the nuances and the details of what it means to run and organize a school district. I mean, as well as all of her time spent as part of the Campus Master Planning Committee, being one of the group that helped lead that effort. So,
Again, fantastic idea.
aye. Any opposed? Aye.
Congratulations, Maggie.
Thanks, Maggie. Oh, and you have to do your oath.
I, Maggie Valentine, do solemnly swear that I support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Haldane Board of Education Vice President according to the best of my ability.
So comments from the school board president, that's going to be me this time. The next Board of Education business meeting will be held on August 15th, 2023 at 7 p.m. here in the auditorium of the Haldane Central School District. And I think the only other comment I want to make is I really appreciate the vote of confidence, first from the public, and people voting for me, even though I ran unopposed, people taking the trouble to vote for me at the last election, and then from my colleagues here for the nomination. I've been very slow to warm to the idea of being president, but I'm actually now really very enthusiastic and excited about it, and really appreciate this opportunity to continue to serve the community. So thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
And so at this point, every year, the district needs to hold a public hearing related to the district code of conduct, as well as the accompanying school district extracurricular code of conduct. So at this point, I am opening that hearing and inviting anyone who wants to make any comments, ask any questions. I would like to say, I felt like the committee had done a really good job going through, being really thoughtful about the language throughout the Code of Conduct. I think the Code of Conduct Committee historically has been kind of ahead of the curve in some things. For example, I think they revised our dress code years and years ago in a way that I think other districts are only now starting to catch up to in terms of making it gender neutral. They went through the Code of Conduct and worked to make the language there gender neutral, which I appreciated, as well as just continuing to make really clear what we expect of folks in our community, students in particular. That's the only comment I had. Right? Yeah, okay, so now we're closing the public hearing. Now I think it's your turn.
Thanks. And congratulations to Peggy and Maggie. I've enjoyed working with you both through our policy committee. We've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time together in that capacity. I look forward to working with you in your leadership role now on the Board of Education. As the board's aware, we received a significant amount of rainfall over the past few days that's impacted our region, our community, and I'm glad to hear for the most part everybody's faring just okay. That being said, I was in contact with local officials yesterday just to offer our facilities, should they be needed, to assist in the cleanup effort, not just here in Phillipstown, but more broadly. If our campus could be used as a staging area in any way, I indicated that we would be happy to do so. So no one's taken us up on that yet, but we're certainly trying to be good partners in the cleanup effort and wish our families and extended families well. We do have some staff members who live in the surrounding region who reside in towns that seem to be more significantly impacted perhaps than even Phillipstown was. So we're thinking of them and obviously assisting in any way that we can. I just want to note as we get into the agenda for the reorg that we did make some changes to the format of the agenda in comparison to how we've done it in the past. I think you'll see that as we go through. It makes a lot of sense. I just want to thank Megan and Catherine for doing so, for taking that on, and for Peggy for going through this with Sean and me last week. And so you will note some changes to the traditional format of the agenda for our reorg, but it's one that I think will make a lot of sense in how we've structured it for today. And I'm looking forward to spending some time with the board at our retreat shortly after this meeting to discuss our goals and priorities for the upcoming school year. That concludes my remarks.
Can I just ask a quick question on stormwater?
Yes.
How did the Haldane Falls or whatever, how did we manage?
Sure.
And then I know we have a retention basin back behind. Do you know whether any water actually, did we retain anything? Like how the whole process?
So first, the area of the school that tends to be most impacted when we have significant rainfall was impacted. Our facilities crew was on top of it. So we had very little water actually going into classroom environments, but there was some in the band room, which typically happens, and some that came into the cafeteria. So I scanned or reviewed those areas yesterday, yet the system that our facilities crew has worked out to try to divert that water from doing so works. But we've said in the past, it's not a long-term solution. We'd prefer to not see that water coming into the building at all. So that area was impacted, but not significantly. It was managed. On the stormwater piece, I'm glad you brought that up. I did walk the campus yesterday, and I heard the water flowing down. That stormwater basin goes from the parking area as you come up Craig's side, underneath the athletic fields to the other side of the field. I heard water flowing from the hillside, but I actually didn't go down to the basin to see if it had water in it. My assumption is it did, just because that water was going somewhere and it wasn't on our field. So, but thank you, John, for reminding me of that. I'll be sure to check on that today or have Mr. Twardy do so.
Yeah, and I actually really appreciate John asking that. Thanks. So at this point, it's time for the first opportunity for communication from the public. The Haldane Board of Education desires and values input from the entire school community. This first public comment session is reserved for comments on special presentations and active agenda items. For those who wish to address the board, please sign in and state your name for the record. Please keep your remarks to 3 minutes or less. Disparaging remarks and discussions of district personnel are discouraged. And although the board will not engage in dialogue, please know that we're listening. Please also leave your contact information with our district clerk, Megan Shields, for prompt follow-up from either me or Dr. Benante. All right, so the next item on the agenda is information reports. These are the copies of financial reports that we'll act on at the next monthly business meeting. They're here for our information. And then next, we're going to move into the consent agenda. starting with minutes. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And now the financial approvals for this month's business meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah.
I just wanted to draw the board's attention. There's several annual appointments that are included here, our legal counsel, our school district physician, but we have included as well the agreement with the Garrison School District for the creation of the special class that Regina had shared with the board periodically throughout the development of that periodically through the spring. So that is on here as well, our agreement with Garrison, which will create that special class now for Haldane and Garrison students that will be hosted by Garrison for the upcoming school year.
Is it still roughly split,
Yeah.
4 and 4? And is it 12-1-1, 12 kids, 1 aide, 1 teacher? Is that what
Correct.
that
So
means?
there could be up to 12 students placed in the class. We don't
Yeah.
believe that will occur. We also were deliberate in including language in the agreement related to if additional students were to be included in the class throughout the year, because that can happen where you can have students moving into programs, how the cost structure would alter at that point, because it's evenly split right now, 2 and 2. But obviously, if additional students were added, that would change the balance of the class, and we have language included in the contract that speaks to that.
Just a quick question regarding the relationship with the school physician, and this is sort of just a procedural question. They conduct athletic physicals for students in grades 7 through 12. Is that sort of the normal course of action, or can a child have the physical with their own doctor?
They can. However, we still offer, the school physician is still available to do so for those students who are unable to. Sometimes family can't get an appointment and such, so we'll have the school physician here on a given day who will assist by way of the school nurses facilitation, the completion of school physicals for athletics.
Great, thank you.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so next we're moving into personnel appointments. Actually, just for folks who are following along, watching, but may not have the agenda before them, I just want to point out that as this is a busy meeting, we have 34 personnel appointments on the consent agenda, so there is a lot here that we are taking care of. All right, so may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Comments, if I may. First, I wanted to draw the board's attention to the extension of the appointment of Mr. Twardy as our interim director of facilities through the remainder of the summer. We're in the process of screening candidates for the director of facilities position, so we're moving forward with that. But Mr. Twardy is willing to continue to give us his time as we work through that process, so we can make sure that the school is up and ready to go for the fall as we get ready to welcome staff and students back. The second note I wanted to make was just to draw the board's attention to item 32, which is the appointment of a secondary art teacher, Miss Allison Booth. Allison is here. Allison, if you can give a wave. And I know our board really appreciates meeting our new teachers, assuming you approve this consent agenda item. I just want Allison to have, if you wouldn't mind hanging back for a few minutes, I would love the opportunity to welcome or introduce you to Allison at the conclusion of the meeting. And Allison, thank you again for being here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Congratulations, Allison.
Congratulations. Stay, we'll come talk to you.
All right. And so now we're moving on to another set of consent agenda items. And these are designations. These are a number of designations for different practices and folks and roles over the course of the school year. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Nothing? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Convenient that we have the designation of the stormwater management consultant.
All right. So now we're moving into another set of consent agenda items. These are authorizations for, actually not even sure how I would explain all of these. Again, just different roles and authorizations for folks to take different roles over the course of the school year.
Financially.
Correct.
Financial.
This is appointing, I would say, several different administrators to approve a variety of items that have a financial implication on the operation of the district.
All right. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. And, oh, there was one more. The last one is, these are consent agenda items for rates of pay and reimbursements. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So now, and that was O. So now, actually, we're going to move on to unfinished business, and the board needs to finish up its self-evaluation for the 2022-2023 school year, and I think John was going to share some information with us.
Absolutely. And the information is completely spaced on doing this. So I will do it now, and we will discuss at our August meeting. So you have a little bit more time for the audience and for people who are following along at home. We do an annual self-evaluation. We do a mid-year that's sort of an informal check, and then we do an annual one at the end of the year, 5 standards, 5 practices each, similar to the superintendent's structure. Also assessment, we have our individual board goals that we're working on. So we'll do all that. I'll get it all out to you, provide comments, feedback. I will be back by the next time we have our next meeting. I'm going on vacation, but I'll be back, so I'll remind people to send it to me. I'll compile, and we'll have a discussion. It's an open conversation, so it should happen in open session. And we'll look forward to coming out of that. What are the things we want to take on?
It's interesting. It sometimes feels like there's a long period of time between the reorg meeting and the August business meeting, but this year it's like a month.
Yeah.
So it's not that long.
No.
And so I'm just trying to think, just to think ahead a little bit. Does it make sense, just so people have a sense? So do you think that you could send the instructions and things like that, like sometime in the next? I'm just trying
Yeah, it will be out before Friday
Oh, before Friday.
because
Okay.
I'm leaving and I will not be able to.
Okay, and then you'll just let us know. I assume you'll want them back like by early August
And
or
I'll
something
follow up.
like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Great. Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect. And then the one thing, just so folks know, as I was thinking about this, because we've always tied the board self-evaluation in some ways to sort of both our goal setting and our mid-year and our end of year to loosely to the superintendents, I thought that I would make a single calendar this year that we could decide on together about what that timeline would be so that we'd all have a record of it. And then one of the things Maggie and I learned in reviewing the policies this year is that we haven't done this historically, is that the board president is supposed to file a plan for the superintendent's evaluation with the clerk by September 1st. So I'll kind of roughly put together a calendar for us to talk about at the August meeting, and then we can do that. All right. Thanks, John. All right, so moving into new business, the first item is CSE, CPSE recommendations.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the recommendation of the Committee on Preschool Special Education and Committee on Special Education as presented below.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. And so the next item is the approval of the Board of Education meeting and workshop date changes for the 23-24 calendar. So the approval of the calendar was in one of the previous consent agenda items. And Ms. Jill, do you want to go ahead?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the following changes to the dates for their meetings. November 21, 2023 workshop meeting is moved to November 14th due to the start of Thanksgiving recess. The February 20th, 2024 workshop meeting is moved to February 27th due to winter recess. April 2nd, 2023 business meeting is moved to April 9th due to spring recess. And the April 16th, 2023 workshop meeting is moved to April 23rd due to the anticipated date of the PNW BOCES vote.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. And now to the third item, which is the authorization to renew the audit committee charge for the 23-24 school year.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby reauthorizes the audit committee and charge as presented for the 2023-2024 school year.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. All right. And the last is the appointment, of board representatives to the audit committee for the 23-2024 school year. So we need to actually have that conversation before you read the motion, correct?
We do. I believe that John and Ezra are planning to continue. Is that?
That's,
We are?
yes, absolutely. Unless somebody else wants to.
Your name's already on the agenda.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's done.
Okay. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints two of its members, Ezra Clements and John Headland, to serve on the Haldane Audit Committee for 2023-2024.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. And now to approve the Haldane School District Code of Conduct.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the Haldane School District Code of Conduct for 2023-2024 as presented.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the next agenda item, approval of the Haldane School District Extracurricular Code of Conduct.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the Haldane School District Extracurricular Code of Conduct for 2023-2024 as presented.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? And next, the approval of a resolution authorizing the establishment of a deposit account with NICLAS.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the following. Whereas New York General Municipal Law, Article 5G, Section 119O, empowers municipal corporations to enter into, amend, cancel, and terminate agreements for the performance among themselves of their respective functions, powers, and duties on a cooperative or contract basis. Whereas the Haldane Central School District wishes to invest portions of its available investment funds in cooperation with other corporations and/or districts pursuant to the NICLAS Municipal Cooperation Agreement amended and restated as of March 28, 2019. Whereas the Haldane Central School District wishes to satisfy the safety and liquidity needs of their funds, now therefore it is hereby resolved as follows, that Catherine Platt, School Business Manager of the Haldane Central School District, is hereby authorized to participate in the NICLAS program under the terms of the NICLAS Municipal Cooperative Agreement amended and restated as of March 28, 2019.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So now we're toward the end of the meeting, and it's time for the second communication from the public opportunity, but I don't see anyone in the public, so we'll move on. And board reflections.
Actually, I'll say two things. I'll say one thing. And it sort of pulls together two things from the meeting. One is the fact that I said that it's always useful to have people who have a historic perspective on the school district. And we had the moment of silence for Mr. Junjulas at the beginning. And I remember when I ran for board the first time, I sat with a number of people who had been involved in the community, involved in the board, and got their input and perspective on what it's like to be in Board of Ed. And he was incredibly gracious, and I had a lovely afternoon at his house. But I remember him bringing out the plans for the high school. Like, he had them somewhere, the original plans that before they got sort of value engineered. He's like, look, we could have had additional, it was a really nice memory, but also really important to remember that there is stuff that has come before. There are people who have come before, and there's always information. And as much as you want to do new things, it's useful to understand the context in which you're trying to do stuff. So, thought I'd say that.
Thanks, John. And I want to say, and I actually meant to say this earlier, he's not here, but and I think we all do, I really want to thank Sean so much for being, president last year. Jen had been president for a while, and when she left the board, I really appreciated that, Sean stepped up to do that work, and I really enjoyed working with him and having the opportunity to sort of transition slowly to a different role. So I really appreciated that. All right, Dr. Bonante?
Just add that I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Junjulas a few months ago, and he handed over his folder regarding the old plans for the high school. So I have it, but I think it speaks to Mike's what was his continued investment in seeing that the district was in good hands and making sure that we were attuned to the history and the matters that came before us. You said it well, John. So, but yeah, Mike was a wonderful community member, fantastic family, and I know all of us are thinking about him and his family right now. And I know it was very important to him to stay connected to the school, and he did so. With that, I don't have any further comments.
All right. So I will, just so the public knows, the board is going to have we usually do our retreat in two parts. So we're going to do the first part of our retreat this afternoon. But until then, I'm going to move to adjourn this meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.